Hello everyone, welcome to Chelsea Sport Focus. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started.
Julian Alvarez is once again being discussed as a possible Premier League target, and Chelsea could have a particularly strong reason to consider the Atletico Madrid forward. While Arsenal's interest has received attention, the latest reporting suggests the Gunners' position is not as straightforward as some headlines have made it appear. Arsenal still retain an interest in Alvarez, but the club's priorities have shifted and the striker's enormous valuation makes the deal difficult. For Chelsea, however, Alvarez represents a different kind of opportunity. The Argentine is not simply a traditional number 9. He can lead the line, drop into midfield, operate behind a striker and play as a false 9. That versatility could make him extremely attractive to Xabi Alonso as Chelsea attempt to build an attack capable of putting constant pressure on opponents. Chelsea have already spent heavily this summer as they look to recover from a disappointing 2025-26 campaign. The arrival of Alonso has brought a new tactical direction, while Morgan Rogers has also joined the project in a major deal. Reuters has described Chelsea's summer overhaul as an attempt to restore the club to the top end of English football after several years of instability. The biggest question for Chelsea is whether their current attacking options are enough to compete with Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City over an entire Premier League campaign. João Pedro has impressed during pre-season and appears to be an important part of Alonso's plans. Cole Palmer remains the creative focal point, while Rodgers gives Chelsea another powerful attacking option. Estevão Willian, Jamie Gittins and other young forwards provide additional depth. Yet Alvarez would offer something different, an attacker capable of connecting all those pieces together. That is where the false 9 idea becomes particularly interesting. Alonso could use Alvarez as the central attacker without asking him simply to remain between the centre-backs. The Argentine is comfortable dropping deeper, dragging defenders away from their positions and creating spaces for players such as Palmer and Rodgers to attack. Imagine Palmer moving inside from the right, Rodgers attacking from the opposite side, and Alvarez dropping into the space between the opposition midfield and defence. Suddenly Chelsea could have 3 players rotating around the central zone instead of relying entirely on a traditional striker. Alvarez has already demonstrated this kind of versatility during his career. At Manchester City, he was frequently used in different attacking and midfield roles and showed that he could contribute beyond simply scoring goals. His movement, pressing and ability to combine with teammates made him particularly valuable. That profile would fit an Alonso team extremely well. The other major advantage is pressing. Chelsea want to become more aggressive without the ball, and Alvarez is the type of forward who can initiate that pressure. Rather than waiting for service inside the penalty area, he can chase defenders, close passing lanes and force mistakes. For a manager trying to control matches through intensity and possession, that is extremely valuable. There's also a fascinating transfer angle. Chelsea have already shown interest in Alvarez in previous windows, with reports in January 2026 claiming that the Blues had considered an offer for the former Manchester City forward. That does not mean a new deal is imminent, but it demonstrates that Alvarez has been on Chelsea's radar before. The problem is Atletico Madrid. Alvarez is not an inexpensive player. Reports have suggested valuations around the £100 million mark, while other speculation has put Atletico's demands even higher. Arsenal's continued interest has also complicated the situation, although more recent reports suggest the Gunners have increasingly considered alternative attacking targets. For Chelsea, therefore, the question is not simply whether Alvarez would fit. He clearly would. The real question is whether Chelsea believe he's worth making another enormous investment after already spending heavily. There's also a squad building argument against the transfer. Chelsea have João Pedro, Palmer, Rodgers, Estevão and other players competing for attacking positions. Bringing Alvarez into that group could create another enormous battle for minutes, but that may actually be exactly what Alonso wants. Rather than having one fixed front 3, Chelsea could build an attack where Alvarez, Palmer, Rodgers and João Pedro interchange positions constantly. Alvarez could play as the number 9 one week, drop into a false 9 role the next, or even operate behind another striker depending on the opponent. That tactical flexibility could make Chelsea much harder to defend. For now, Alvarez should not be presented as a completed Chelsea transfer.